Imagine waking up in a world where every sound could mean danger. Towering dinosaurs roam the land, giant flying reptiles rule the skies, and survival depends on every decision you make. What if early humans had actually lived in the Jurassic World? Would they have become extinct? Or would they have found a way to survive? At first, every day would be a desperate fight for life. Small human tribes would rely on sharp observation instead of strength, hiding in caves, moving silently through forests, and learning which paths kept them alive. They would quickly realize that speed and intelligence mattered far more than muscles. Even finding clean water or gathering berries could turn deadly if a hungry predator appeared nearby. Every sunrise would bring a new challenge, and every sunset would feel like another incredible victory. Soon, humans would discover that surviving alone was nearly impossible. A single person couldn't watch every direction at once, but a tribe could. While some searched for food, others stood guard, scanning the forests for danger. They would begin using simple whistles, hand signals, and warning calls to alert each other whenever predators approached. Fire would become their greatest invention, not only for warmth and cooking, but also because its bright flames and thick smoke frightened many dangerous creatures. Camps would be built near rivers for fresh water, but far enough away to avoid large predators. Slowly, these small improvements would transform survival from pure luck into careful planning. As the days passed, humans would begin studying the dinosaurs instead of simply fearing them. They would notice that giant herbivores rarely attacked unless threatened, while carnivores followed regular hunting patterns. Learning these behaviors would allow tribes to avoid danger before it even appeared. Hunters would track footprints, broken branches, and distant roars, treating the wilderness like a giant puzzle waiting to be solved. Every observation would become valuable knowledge passed from one generation to the next. Intelligence, not strength, would slowly become humanity's greatest weapon. The prehistoric world, however, would never stop testing them. One moment, the forests would seem peaceful. The next, a towering predator would emerge from the trees. Instead of charging into battle, humans would rely on teamwork. Hunters would create wooden barricades, sharpened stakes, hidden pit traps, and burning torches to protect their villages. Victory wouldn't come from overpowering dinosaurs. It would come from forcing them to retreat. Every encounter would teach new lessons, making future generations even wiser than those before them. The tribe would learn that surviving wasn't about defeating every enemy. It was about making smart decisions together. Yet danger wouldn't only come from the ground. Massive flying reptiles would cast terrifying shadows over rivers and forests, threatening anyone who wandered alone. Children would be taught never to leave the group, while hunters carried burning torches that discouraged attacks from above. Shelters would evolve with stronger roofs and protective coverings made from giant leaves and wooden beams. Knowledge would spread through storytelling around campfires, where elders explained which mistakes had cost lives and which clever ideas had saved them. Every story would become another survival guide for the future. Then nature itself would unleash its power. Volcanoes would erupt without warning, filling the sky with ash while rivers overflowed during endless storms. Floods would destroy camps, and earthquakes would shake the land beneath their feet. But humans would adapt once again. They would learn to recognize early warning signs, strange animal behavior, distant smoke, or trembling ground, and move their villages before disaster struck. Instead of resisting nature, they would move with it, finding safer valleys and better resources. Every catastrophe would leave behind another lesson, proving that flexibility was far more valuable than brute strength. As years passed, survival would slowly turn into progress. Humans would begin storing food, planting simple crops, improving stone tools, weaving baskets, and building stronger villages connected by safe trails. Children would learn skills from their parents, while elders preserved knowledge through stories and traditions. Instead of wandering endlessly, communities would start creating permanent homes. They would discover that planning for tomorrow was just as important as surviving today. Civilization would begin to take shape, even in a land filled with giant reptiles. Not every encounter with dinosaurs would end in violence. Curious herbivores might peacefully approach human settlements, teaching people that not every creature was an enemy. Rather than trying to dominate nature, humans would learn to live alongside it whenever possible. Their greatest achievements wouldn't come from hunting the largest dinosaurs, but from creating better tools, stronger communities, and smarter ways of living. Over time, the difference between frightened survivors and confident builders would become impossible to ignore. Generation after generation, humanity would continue evolving. Villages would grow larger, tools would become more advanced, and knowledge would spread farther than ever before. Stories told around ancient campfires would inspire future explorers to travel beyond mountains, forests, and rivers. Every generation would inherit better ideas than the last. Slowly but surely, humans would reshape their future, not by changing the Jurassic World, but by changing themselves. So, could early humans really survive in the Jurassic World? Maybe not because they were stronger, faster, or bigger than dinosaurs. They would survive because they could think, cooperate, adapt, and learn from every mistake. Dinosaurs may have ruled with strength, but humanity has always ruled with intelligence. And perhaps that's the greatest lesson in our entire history. The species that survives isn't always the strongest. It's the one that never stops learning. If you enjoyed this prehistoric adventure, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let us know which ancient mystery we should explore next.